Welcome to day 28 of our 30 lessons I've learned in 30 years of ministry. And today I want to tell a story, and this happened to me. I experienced it. Now, after some years of studying, then I found the principle behind it. So it becomes an ideology that can now be transferred to other people. But it started first and foremost as an experience in my life. I also read a book during that period, and I guess God was trying to communicate something to me, but sometimes you just don't see it. And Dr. Roberts spoke about an experience that he had. And the experience, I'll get back to mine, but the experience he had was that he was pastoring a very small church in a town in Oklahoma, in a town in the state of Oklahoma. And he said what happened to him was that there was a wealthy man who lived next to where he was staying. And one of those days, the man just looked at him while he was washing his cars, and the man said, "Oral," he said, "Sir," he said, "I listened to your message on radio, extremely powerful." He said, "One day you're going to become the most powerful voice of God and the gospel in this nation." He said, "I haven't been to church in years. I am 76 years old and I haven't been to church in years. But I know a success when I hear one. And your voice is going to resonate throughout the entire United States of America." So the man told him, "I advise you to leave this small town and go to Tulsa, somewhere where there is the infrastructure to be able to carry and handle what God is about to bring into your life." This man had not attended church in years. So Dr. Roberts said, then he says he didn't even listen to the man nor consider what he was saying, because as far as he was concerned, this was just a man who hadn't been to church in years, and he was just speaking from a secular point of view, which in many cases could be. However, he said about 2-3 months later, his best friend betrayed him so deeply that he had to leave town and move somewhere else, and he ended up in Tulsa. To cut the long story short, within a few months there, the entire ministry blew up there, and he remembered what that man said, and he became a voice for God, not just in the United States of America, but went global. And he remembered that that man told him that, "Look, leave this place and move to this other place, that your voice needs to be heard throughout the entire country." Now, I remember when we started church, and I will hold meetings and I will preach, and the church didn't seem to be growing at all. And one day we were about 35 in a midweek service, and my mother came in, and I saw she sat down behind and listened to me. And at the end, before I finished the message, she had to leave. Right, she came as an external examiner at the University of Lagos Teaching Hospital. So she came in from the guest house and listened and went back. And then after some time, she now went back to Ibadan, all right, where we stayed. So I went maybe a month after or so, and I went to see her or see my parents. My mother called my father. He said, "Have you ever heard your son preach?" He said, "No." He said, "He can't preach. You should go there to his church. He really can't preach." He said, "I didn't know you could preach like this." He said, "Your only problem is that the city of Lagos doesn't know what you're saying. If they knew the content that you are giving out, that your church would be packed out. That church size doesn't represent the amount of information and knowledge you're putting out there." And he told me, "Go on television, look for a platform where people will hear your voice." I just listened to her that, "Listen, this is not secular. What are you talking about? This is not, we're moved by the Spirit. It's what the Holy Ghost tells us we do." 7 years later, to cut a long story short, I went on television, bam, and the entire thing exploded. Then she told me, "Did I not tell you to go on television back then? Hasn't it happened?" As I said, now the principle behind it is listen to the voice of outsiders. You see, outsiders here are blessed with something. They have a perspective on issues. They are not soaked into your rhetoric, soaked into the environment. They come with fresh eyes, and they can just look at a certain thing and evaluate it and see from the outside. You see, because once you get into something and you are all together in a certain place, you are conditioned to see things the way they are. See, if you come to a particular place, let's say it's your office or any place here, and you all come there regularly, if the walls begin to get dirty, you start getting conditioned to it in that state. Is somebody who is coming in for the first time that looks around and says, "Why is the wall stained here?" An outsider's perspective. You who are an insider is conditioned. You don't see it. all right, is not bad to you. It's just like saying you want to take people home and you are taking some people say, we're coming to see you. And who are they? Oh, they're very close family, relative, your friends, or you are in a car with your very good friend, all right, who comes to your house. You drive the person into your house, you open the door, even if the place is not well set, because you're all conditioned that way. The person can even help you arrange things and all of that. But if strangers are coming to your house and people are coming for the first time and say, we're coming to see you at home, the first thing that you do is you think about how the house is. And then you can tell someone, please go and help me arrange all of that. Because you understand that to that person, it's just going to be a massive reaction that what's going on here. So outsiders, people that come in with a fresh eyes, that have not seen things the way in which all of you have been conditioned to see things. And that's why it's so important when you're leading an organization or a church, that people that come in new, all right, have eyes and they can see things that you may be doing well or that you are actually missing the point completely. And if you talk to people who are already within the organization, who have already been conditioned to the way it is, who already are power holders within the structure the way they are not going to want to change. So they are conditioned to seeing things that way. They will continue with that routine forever until you begin to listen to outsiders. That is, you go out to outsiders and ask them, right, why did you come into this church for the first time? Why did you come into this? What attracted you to us? That gives you an indication of the elements that God is able to use within the organization. Outsiders now, fresh people before they get, sucked into the system and they become part and parcel of everything. Why do you do that? You can glean a lot of intelligence by listening to outsiders, that people that are not, all right, being conditioned in that particular way. Many years ago, I was watching television and there was a program in America. And this had to do with hip-hop artists, some two American hip-hop artists. And I think they had just won an Oscar award for the music they put out for a film. And they were in this program and there was an elderly Caucasian woman. So they had moved into a certain area in Los Angeles and from where they were coming from their hood to all of that. So they came in there and it was like, oh, we're successful now, we've come in here. And there was an elderly white woman who had been in the system for long. And she looked at them and said, well, you guys, have you tried wearing suits and changing the way you look? All right, so that you can have better penetration into this corporate people you're trying to reach to now. And they laughed and said, it's like, oh, we're keeping it real, we're keeping it real, we're keeping it real, Now, if you look at some of them today that are very successful, they've made that switch, which means that they've left, keeping it real, to being able to relate there. And outsiders coming with a fresh perspective on the things that you are doing. They look at it. Of course, some things they say might be totally off point, but you listen very well to them. Because sometimes they're bringing in the strategic insights that you need at that very point. The best example I can give you is Moses. Moses was in ministry, parted the Red Sea, done massive things for God. I doubt whether any person before that time of Moses had demonstrated power. I don't think anybody. Abraham did not go near this. Isaac did not go near this. Jacob, demonstration of the raw power of God. Moses was the first person. Red Sea parting, manna coming from heaven, judgment in Egypt, power manifestation. Moses was the first to handle it. But God could do that because Moses was the meekest man on the surface of this earth. Now, what's the point? Jethro, his father-in-law, saw what he was doing in his ministry and saw that he was counseled and said, this thing you are doing is not good. You are going to die early and the people also are going to die. This thing is not going to work. He told him, hearken unto me, and the Lord will give you counsel. Rearrange your ministry this way. All right, delegate. Look for leaders. These are the criteria here. When you find them, this is what you should do. And this is what you should now do. Spend time with God so that you'll be able to. If Moses did not listen to his father-in-law, who has no record of having any encounter with God as such, or operating in ministry. This was an outsider's perspective. This was almost saying like a corporate business person just looking at what you are doing and saying, change the structure of this. I know nothing about the anointing. I don't know how you penetrate the courts of heaven and bring grace, but I know structure. Change the structure in this particular way. And if you change the structure in this particular way here, this is going to be the outcome of it. And Moses did that. And that's how Moses survived. So please, the outsider's perspective, don't be too arrogant. Don't think that it is only people that are in, all right, your setup or in your industry or around you that can know what is right. Number two, don't ever make this statement that if a person has not done what I'm trying to do, then I'm not going to listen to that person. That is a big error. Go and look at the Bible. You tell me that the people that God used to speak to people, they had done what those people, that Jethro had done what Moses did. Even he used the dumb ass to speak to a prophet. What you're talking about is mentorship over a period of time, which means that somebody who mentors, you run decisions by. But God sends in people from time to time. All right? Individuals can come in. People that are younger than you, older than you, children. He can use anybody just to bring one strategic information. It's not a relationship of mentoring, but just to give you strategic information at that particular point in time that is a game changer and will, all right, do a lot for you. So I learned this the hard way. Don't do it. Listen to outsiders. People that are totally sucked up in the system have major blind spots. There are certain things they don't see, but the outsider, with the outsider's perspective, will notice it. I hope that helped you. All right. God bless you and see you tomorrow, which will be day 29.